Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Salemi. I'm with DynaSCAPE Software, and this is the next and last installment of the Manage360 Masterclass, where it's our hope and genuine intention that you're going to get the most out of your landscape business operating system. Today, in webinar number 17 out of this series, we have Fabio Ronconi, one of our superstar implementation and training specialist, and he's going to run through the billing system within Manage360 so that you can also become a billing superstar. In this session, you'll get a full view into what it takes to get your customers billed in the most effective and efficient ways possible. And through this, you'll be able to really be able to manage your cash flow, but there's some important considerations when it comes to managing that cash flow. First of all, you want to monitor it very closely, and there's some metrics to really take a look at when considering managing your cash flow and how you're going to do that. So, you're going to monitor bank balances, sales, your receivables, current inventories, your payables, and credit card terms. So if you have clients that are paying by credit card, you'll want to keep an eye on charges and make sure that payments aren't declined and those kinds of things. You're going to make frequent projections. So as you monitor, you're going to continually project what cash flow is going to be like, and preparing thorough and accurate cash flow forecasts. So consider historical sales, client payment histories, what the industry averages are or trends, and what the current economical conditions are like. All of those have big factors in forecasting for cash flow. You'll want to identify issues early. So if you have a large amount of credit card transactions that happen on a batch and you get a high number of declines, you'll want to look into that as soon as you possibly can to correct that. So essentially fix it when you find it. Have a backup in place. So if you are finding cash flow is bottlenecking, in this case, you want to think cash reserves, lines of credit to get you through those kind of gaps. Have measured and careful growth. It often takes money to make money, so be very careful and measured about that. You'll want to invoice quickly, so as the work gets done, you'll want to invoice. Any delays in getting your invoices to clients means a delay in getting paid. So, one affects the other. And at the end of the day, use technology wisely and effectively, and that's what our webinar today is all about, is getting invoices out effectively and efficiently. So at this point, I think it's a great time to dive right in and pass it over to Fabio so that he can take us into what billing is all about inside of Manage360.
All right, thanks, Joe. Let's get my screen sharing going over here. So yeah, like Joe was saying, today's session is going to be focused on the billing component of Manage360. Now, we did have a session, can't remember now, a couple weeks ago at least, 2-3 weeks ago, about the QuickBooks connector. So that tool there, that QuickBooks connector it's kind of an addendum to this or attachment to this as well, where if you do invoice and manage and you want those invoices to go to QuickBooks, then you can use that connector. So we're not going to go too deeply into that connector. We're just kind of, Dallas mentioned it a couple times, but this is more like in Manage, how do I get those invoices made, and how does the system know, how does Manage360 know that things are ready to be billed as well? So overall, we're going to start kind of, there's a few settings we want to touch on just to so you know how they're affected, how they affect the system as well. We'll go over those. Then we'll get into like, where does the billing start, the estimates, and then the job component on there as well. And then finally, we'll look at a couple reports that are in Manage that you can look at as well, specifically with the billing in mind on there as well. So first off, I'm just going to, again, I'm logged into our Manage360 section. I'm going to go into the settings section. Again, this is just a few settings items we want to cover off as part of billing. So go into the settings, and again, you have to have, your user has to have rights to do this part. Go into settings. First I want to look at here is in my company settings right over here, and it's under configuration. So again, just some basic stuff. So basically down in here, there's a billing section, which is, these are mainly related to when if I'm generating the invoice in Manage, what information do I want to put on that invoice? So company address, the actual, if you want to put the estimator's name on the invoice for tracking purposes, if you want to put the logo on that's the same logo that you have in Manage, you want to put on the invoice as well. If you print it on, if you have a header, the paper that you already use, you don't have to have the logo on there as well. If you want your company phone number to be part of there, so when we say company address, that's just the address component. You want your phone number. If you want the salesperson, their name also on the invoice as well, as opposed to the estimator, or also, you can choose to turn that on as well. And then lastly, if you charge sales tax and to the customer, and you want that tax number to appear on the invoice, you can turn this setting on over here. Now, if this setting is on, you can see here, the tax number here comes from the settings taxes area. If this setting is on and we don't have any tax number to show, it won't show anything as well on there. Now, the very first option here, this is related to if I make this is not related to what is on the invoice. This one is when I generate if I generate the invoice directly from a job, and we'll talk about that as well. If I generate the invoice from the job, then when I do that, if this is turned to yes as it is now, then when I click generate invoice, Manage will at the same time will automatically generate the PDF as well. So it'll open the PDF at the same time if you want to save it or print it right from there. If this is turned off, then when you make the invoice, if at some point you want to then print it, you'll have to click on the invoice and then hit the print button. But this allows you to save a step if you want to print it off at that time as well. So these settings, they're under the My Company settings under configuration. They're really just tied to, again, when I generate the invoices themselves, their main point. Now, it's going to pop out of here, save and close. Another setting here, I'm going to go down a little farther into the billing settings section here and accounting settings. Now, a few of these ones, like I said, we talked about, these are related to the accounting connector. This is where you download it and set it up, and these are tied to QuickBooks specifically. But a couple of these, like I said, the first two, they're not QuickBooks specific. So this first one here, show future billable items. This one is very specific for the maintenance contracts. If we're billing our maintenance contracts periodically, and then in the billable section or on the job or in the summary section, do I want to see future billable items? So if the bill has come due is now June 20th, if July 1st, the first of the month is our billing date, do I want to see those before July 1st? The default is no. That means on July 1st, those will be ready. But if I want to see those a day or a week in advance or a month in advance, I can turn this on. And then since today is June 20th, if I show the ones a month in advance, then I will see all of July's billing ready to be periodic billing, ready to be billed as well. So this is an option. You can turn this on if you want to, kind of get the invoices out prior or to the actual date of the billing item on there as well. And this is, again, specifically for periodic billing. The other one here that's kind of, again, not QuickBooks specific is this invoice number. Basically, you put a number in here, and then as invoices are generated, they will be numbered sequentially from here. And this will just keep incrementing as invoices are generated. The invoice number can be changed after the fact if you'd like, that's fine, but this is where it's generated from initially on here as well. And again, it's just a number that is always incrementing as invoices are being generated as well on there. Like I said, the other items are really more specifically for the accounting connector and the QuickBooks connector. So like I said, if you want to get more detail on those, you can definitely go back to that masterclass video. We'll talk about these as well. Now, just going to hit save and close here. The last one I want to look at for now is this payment terms. Again, the payment terms in Manage360, it's net 30, due upon receipt, net 10, whatever your typical payment terms are on there. This is not how we're breaking down the invoice, 10% down, this 20 later. This is just when is it due? When are the specific payments due? They're due in their receipt, due on 30, net 90, net 10, whatever. The key thing is here is that these will appear on the invoice. So whatever you have set in here appear on the invoice, and that is pulled initially from the customer's account record. So in the account of the different customers on there as well, we can see those and set those at the account level. Now, if I'm not using QuickBooks, then that's fine. This will show on the invoice, net 30, no problem. If I am using QuickBooks, then whatever payment terms we have, they have to also be in QuickBooks as well. So if I have net 30 days and I need to have net 30 days in QuickBooks, that way when it goes over, it knows when that invoice is due as well. But those are the main, like I said, those three main areas: the company settings, the configuration, the accounting settings, and the payment terms. Kind of this initial settings for billing related items on there. Now, so next I want to step into, so how do these now get started? We'll talk about the job, but first, how do they get set up? So most of them come, the vast majority, again, in Manage: account, opportunity, estimate, job. So at the estimate level, we kind of set up, this is what the billing would look like if we win this estimate. So that's where the initial setup is. And I'll go through, again, construction example and a maintenance example as well. So I'm going to go into a construction estimate here. And again, like I said, it's just a standard construction estimate, a couple work areas. May have one work area, may have 15 work areas. Really, that doesn't matter. On the construction, there's a payment options tab. So this payment options tab, this is where we initially start looking at the billing component. So on a construction estimate, there's three options: manual billing, milestone billing, percentage of completion. Manual billing means if this turns into a job, I am going to manually invoice whatever I need on there as well. There's not going to be a percentage I fill in. It's not going to be a milestone. I just put in the invoices on there. Not used very often. It can be used if necessary, but it's typically a lower use item on there as well. Most of the time, the vast majority are either a milestone option or a percentage of completion option. Now, they are a little similar. The milestone, though, this one allows you to predefine a set of milestones based on percentages of the, not completion, but percentages of the price of the job. So if you're using milestone billing, you can set up some payment schedules on here as well. And again, you can have many different options depending on the contract, depending on the client, depending on the price, how you want to bill those particular clients. And you can enter them here and it'll automatically determine, oh, this is how we're going to bill those on there as well. Now, you can have a nice set of options like this, which is fine. If you also want to, I just want to change this one as a one-off, you can just adjust these percentages right here. As long as it adds up to 100%, Manage is okay with you making the one-off adjustments. That's fine. But like I said, most times you have the typical schedule you use, and it'll show you how much it's going to be. Now, with this information, if I win this estimate, this information with this milestone billing, with these options, is then sent to the job for billing. There's both the same breakdown as well. That's what milestone allows you to bill in percentages of the price on there as well for that. Now, percentage of completion, I'll put on that one. On the estimate, there's nothing to be done on the estimate here as well, because this is based on completion of the job as well. So, you can use percentage of completion also. And we'll get into that on the job side, but basically with percentage of completion on the job, you simply mark down how much of the job is done, either for the entire job, or it can be done by work area as well on there. And then you can mark that down, 1%, we're 10% done, we're 14% done, now we're 22% done. And then it will bill incrementally the differences until you get to 100% on there as well. So again, construction, the vast majority, milestone billing, percentage of completion on there. And those get transferred to the job. Now, what I'm going to do is, instead of going into the maintenance estimate, now I'm just going to go to the construction job just to kind of complete the construction process on there as well. So if I were to win a job in construction, and they have a job in construction, when it gets won, it also now has a billing tab on there as well. So here's the billing tab, just like the payment info becomes a billing tab on the job side of it. Now, this is where we need to now tell Manage when things are ready to be billed in construction. In construction, we always need to indicate to Manage, are there things that I need to bill? Are there things that are ready to be billed? Manage does not make any assumptions about, oh, looks like your job is 10% complete, or do you want to make that first payment? You go into the billing tab, and again, this is oftentimes a process. If the guys get back, they can say we can bill it, or the sales guys, they can keep track of their jobs and know when it's ready to be billed. But in the billing tab, there is a ready for billing column. If you're using Milestone Billing, then there's a ready for billing column. Then again, like I said, these will transfer over just like they were on the estimate. So if it's 33, it's 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, okay, click on the box, that's ready to be billed. So really, that is how the construction, you need to indicate if it's a milestone, it's ready to be billed. And so when you click on the box, you'll notice that in this case, there is a create invoice button on the job. Now, if I uncheck this, that box is gone because there's nothing that I can invoice on this job. Once I click it, now there is. So now I can click create the invoice from here. So now I will touch on this button. Again, there's another way to do this as well. But this is if you want to make the invoice directly from this job. Just invoice it right now. Click this. This will create the invoice for whatever is marked ready for billing here as well. Now, also, which we'll get into shortly, there is a main production billing area in Manage that will collect all of these things that have been marked as ready for billing. So they've been marked ready for billing. So instead of going in every job and then finding it, hit create invoice, when it's time to make the invoices on the 15th or whenever you want to make them once a week, you can go into the main area and find all of the ones in there. And we'll look at that in a second as well. But basically, like I said, milestone billing, you simply indicate how much of the job or what milestone we've currently reached on there as well. There is a job progress here. Again, when I'm doing milestone billing, the job progress here is not related to billing, but it can be useful for just how much of the job are we finished. Again, it's useful to that as well. But when I'm doing milestone, this is not tied to billing. So now, the other thing is that if I've chosen to bill this job as a percentage of completion billing, if I do that, I'll just change it now, then basically the milestones are gone. And again, as a side note here, I can change this now because I have not yet invoiced anything. Nothing's been invoiced, nothing's been generated. Once I generate an invoice, then I cannot change this. I can't start changing it. So I've invoiced my first one by milestone. Now I want to switch to percentage of completion. Manage won't let you do that. But in this case, before I've made any invoices, I can change between the two. So I'll go to percentage of completion. Again, you can see now when I'm doing percentage of completion, here's my total job amount. But that's because in my job progress now, I can choose, do I want to mark completion by the entire job, which is the default, or if I have a big enough job that I want to kind of bill by work area, I can switch this to work area, and then I can see here's my work areas. And again, I've named these work areas phase 1 and phase 2. They may be more descriptive. You guys use them as well. But this way I can mark percentages of specific work areas done. So if we're getting the, we're going to do the first one, then we're going to go to the second one, or if we're going to do it simultaneously, and I kind of want to build them like that, then I can mark percentages in here. And then as I do that, it will tell me how much I'm invoicing as well. So you see that I can't make an invoice. As soon as I change at least one of these, so say we're 10% done this one. So now it's like, okay, you're going to bill 10% of that. And now this button lights up. Now I can also, in this case, because I'm doing it by work area, I can go here and say we're 15% on this one. Does a calculation. So now I have two things I can invoice from here. Now, when you make an invoice from here or from the main billing area, if there are multiple things, like in this case, I have work area 1 and work area 2 on there, they will be put onto the same invoice. Because it's the same job, if I invoice them at the same time, it'll, instead of making 2 invoices, it will make one. One for phase 1, 10% complete, $1,400. Second line item on that same invoice, phase 2, 15% complete, $4,600. total for that invoice. They'll be all on there as well. So percentage of completion gives you the ability to, again, if you want, mark down. So now when I do invoices, once I make it, I'll make this invoice as an example, and I'll show you different spots. Make it from here. The date is today. I'll click create invoice. So it's going to make the invoice, and because I had that at the beginning in the setting turned on to make the PDF, it is going to at the same time make the invoice, but also have the PDF available right here as well. So I can click on this, and then here's my logo. I chose not to have the phone number appear, but I said no estimator, but yes, put the salesperson in. So the salesperson shows up here as well again. And here's the job. And so both things, and again, does the work area names go here, and then how much we're billing for each of those work areas. Now, if I want to get, now that I've made the invoice, if I close this off, I can always get back to that. On the billing tab now, it has the last invoice number, but now we're now at 10% complete. So I've already invoiced this amount. So now I can't invoice again. As soon as I up this, so now we're 17% complete, it knows, okay, now we're going to bill the difference in there as well for that. Now, if I open up the invoice, I can do it from here. I go to the Invoices tab, and I can see the invoice. I only have one. If I wanted to change anything on the invoice, I can click on it, and I can adjust the description if I want to make descriptions, or if I want to add a comment line to be more descriptive of what's going to happen, I can do that as well right from here also. But basically, then you can also print this invoice as well, which is the same as before. That will printing, it will make that PDF that you can save or email or physically print as well. But basically, so again, we're using percentage, same word for milestone. It'll make the milestone, it'll have the milestone name and what's on there. And you'll notice that now that I have made that invoice, I can't switch away from this thing as well. It's like now you're on percentage completion. If I've done it inadvertently, I didn't want to bill this way. If I delete that invoice, then this will unlock it, and then I can potentially change my billing styles if I need to. Now, also, so with the construction, so in the billing, again, the original contract is always the build here. Now, the other big part of construction is change orders. So when I want to build change orders, so again, in the contracts tab, again, we do have like I said, we have a masterclass on change orders. We're talking about this as well. Make a change order. Once I approve that change order, in the billing tab, I now have the original contract and approved change orders as well. So if I select the approved change order, then I can indicate that, yes, it's ready to be billed. And again, it can be billed milestone or percentage of completion. The change order, it can be billed differently if I choose than the original job. If I'm billing the original job by percentage of completion as I get done, but we're billing the change order, no, 100%. Once we do it, it's done, or when they sign their pay, then I can bill that differently as well. And again, it's important for approved change orders to go into here, take a look, make sure that they're all billed on here. Now, again, like I mentioned, just as another reminder, if I have both items from the original contract and from the change order, so if I have multiple things and I make the invoice, if they're from the same job, they're all going to be combined on a single invoice as well. But it is important on the billing tab. Take a quick look in here. Again, it's likely something you want to do in an internal process. If people get change orders approved, make sure they come in the billing tab, flag them as ready to be billed. Otherwise, the potential that they don't get billed at the end as well. So I'm going to make sure that happens. So I'll show you another report that we can look at to kind of potentially help with this also. But change orders in construction and the construction jobs themselves, they need to go into them, click, select what's ready to be billed, then that amount can be billed. Now, in here, we did it from here, but I'll show you other ways to do that as well. Now, that was construction. Maintenance, it's similar in that it starts at the estimate. I'll go open up maintenance estimate. The maintenance, I have maintenance estimate here. Again, what services do I have? With the maintenance, I have services that are included in the contract. So these are going to be part of the contracted price. And I may have other services that are time and material, or we'll do them as needed. If you ask for them later, we will do these services as well on there. So it's a combination here. On the billing, and there's also billing tab in the maintenance estimates here. Now with them, the biggest difference is that you can charge in maintenance for the entire thing. They can prepay for the entire season. Theoretically in construction does as well, but likely not going to happen. But in here, if you want to, they're going to prepay for the service, and then we're going to give them a discount. Theoretically, you can use this discount for prepayment here. Now, the discount can be a percentage. It can be a dollar value. If they're going to prepay without a discount, that's fine. You can use this as well, and you can just set the discount to 0, and it still allow them to prepay. So maintenance allows you to set up. They are going to potentially be paying for this up front on there. Now, if we win this estimate, and I have this box checked here, when I click, I'll just show you the process. Estimate 1, down here, it'll have, are they actually prepaying? Because they may not have. That might have been an option on the proposal, but they chose not to do it. So when you win it, if they prepay it, then we want to click this box. Like I said, you want to make sure that the discount is set the way it is. When you do this, this will now create a single invoice for all of the contracted services. So whatever all the contracted services, $3,000, $2,000, this will invoice them in one single invoice as well for that. So that's what the discount for repayment allows you to do, one invoice for the entire estimate. So all of the services here, all this $1,800, this $200 is not included in that because that is not part of the included services as well. So that's what the discount for prepayment option is. Now, the other options, if I choose not to show that, then this is also going to be used for the proposal. The other ones are per visit billing on here and periodic billing. So per visit is exactly what it is. This means all the services that we do in contract as needed on demand, we're going to bill as they get done. So as those services are completed, they're ready for billing and we'll bill them. So if we bill monthly and 1 month we did 6 services, they're paying for those 6 services. If we did 2, they're paying for 2 as well. So that's what the per visit billing does. Basically, as the services are done, they're ready to be billed. Periodic billing, again, if you want to bill the total contracted services only, again, like same thing here, it's only this amount. Any additional ones will be on top of that. But in here allows you to monthly, you can say, okay, starting on May 1st, and we're going to go for 5 months, and it'll divide it up by 5 and give you so on these dates, and now these dates are important as well, because when these dates are set here, when this estimate is turned into a job, all of these 5 bills or invoices that we're going to create, they're all ready in the system, and on those dates, May 1st, it's automatically ready. June 1st, ready again. I don't have to do anything on the job to make sure that those are ready. On those dates, those invoices become automatically ready for billing. Now this ties back to the very beginning setting we talked about, where if I want to see these in advance a couple days, I can turn that on, and then so say I want to see a week early, then a week before the 1st, on the 23rd, 24th of the month, I'll start seeing the ones that are due on the 1st, and I can start generating those invoices early as well on there. But that's what the periodic billing will do. So I choose this. When I go to the job, it will simply bill on those dates, and they're ready for billing as well automatically. Now, I'm going to go to the maintenance job. So again, this is the maintenance estimate. On the job, on the maintenance job itself, the biggest difference, like I just mentioned, is that all of these things, there's nothing really to set ready on the maintenance job as well. So I have a maintenance job here. And again, this maintenance job here is periodic billing. So it's being billed periodically for the contracted services. It has a billing tab, again, just like in construction. If I go to the billing tab, then I can see automatically ready. So instead of, on May 1st having to find the things and click ready, on May 1st, they're automatically ready. I don't have to do anything else to invoice them. I see that they're in, again, because I've set it up now, June 1st is ready as well. So both of these are ready to be invoiced. Now, these check boxes, I can make the invoice from here, just like in construction, or in my main billing area, I can find those and invoice in bulk from there as well. But I want to say, like, so on maintenance, you don't need to change anything on those ones. When those dates are set, those dates appear. When that dates happen, automatically ready to be billed. I don't have to change anything. Same thing with the visits. So say I go into the visits tab. Again, I'll just do this quickly here. So we have the mow and trim, it's on there, spring cleanup. These are all part of the contract. But if we add, so if they have any on-demand items, so if I go to the contract tab, for example, you can see that residential driveway cleanup, that's an as needed, on demand. Oh, so they want aeration. So if they do choose to have the aeration on there, so if I go and schedule out, we're going to do an aeration visit for these people, add visit, aeration is on, like, this is all part of their contract, but it's on demand. Aeration, add that in. So now I have this visit, this work order, and I'll just save and close this as an example now. On the visits tab here, so now I have an aeration visit here. And then I could schedule it directly from here. I could add it to my aeration route. I could add it to someone's timesheet. Tomorrow we're going to aeration. I could schedule it via the calendar. The beauty of this is that when I schedule this, and again, if I'm using the mobile app or not, once those, and it's on a timesheet, then once those timesheets get approved, these things will be marked as done. And as it gets marked as done, it's automatically ready to be billed as well. So I can't bill this thing. So again, let's say we did it yesterday, you know, and who did it? We'll say maintenance crew 1 did that yesterday. So basically, again, I'll just close it from here. But typically, this goes on a timesheet. Maintenance crew 1 fills in what they do. Timesheet gets approved. This is marked as closed, completed as closed. As soon as it's marked as closed, whether I've done it from here or whether it happens via the timesheet, as soon as I do that, I go into the billing tab. That visit is now ready to be invoiced as well on there. So now I can invoice that. So again, I don't have to, just the act of marking it closed tells manager, yeah, that can be invoiced as well. Now, the other thing, again, so say we are also doing some of our standard prepaid, like we did, you know, and I'll pick a date here as well, on the 11th of June and on the 18th of June as well. Whatever, we did a couple of those also. I'll just mark these as, again, say these are on timesheets as well. So as these visits are getting marked done, as the ones that are part of the periodic are getting marked done, those ones, they don't show up here because those are those are part of this installment billing. So I don't need to show those ones as well on there. Now, you can make the invoice from here as well. Basically, like I said, in maintenance, periodic billing, dates automatically show up. Any other visits that are not part of the periodic one, whether it's per visit billing or as they get marked as closed, completed, shows up ready to be billed as well on there. So it's simple. You can go into the job, select them all, invoice them here at once, it's fine. Or the other part, and we'll look at in a second, is that you can do it from the main billing area. Now, we looked at maintenance job, looked at a construction job. There's also, under production, there's also non-contract work orders on there. So those are work orders that, again, they're not, I can make a work order from this maintenance job, that's fine. But if I'm doing something for one of our clients, we don't have a maintenance contract, we just did a one-off, a little bit of work for them that we wanted to do a cleanup or something needs some help, we can do a work order, and that billing works exactly like the other ones in a maintenance contract. That work order is created, the time is materials are entered onto it. Once that work order is closed, it's ready for billing as well. So it will also show up in the ready to be billed area also. So it definitely, again, the work orders as they get closed, that means to manage that this can be billed on there. Now, if we're going to let's go back to my beginning from here. The other part I kind of wanted to talk about, again, as part of the whole, in the individual jobs, you can go in there and you can invoice from individual jobs if you choose to for specific customers. You want to go in there, you can do that, not a problem. However, under the production menu, there is a billing area. So again, same where I can go look at individual accounts and see all their opportunities, or I can go to the main opportunities area. This is now I can go to the main billing area. And here there are 2 tabs, Billables and Invoices. So the Billables, this is a summary of all of the things that we had just talked about. So again, if I search by job number in here, depending if I think I invoiced that one as well. It's not on there anymore, but you can search by jobs. You can search by, if you're looking for specific ones on there as well, you can find things. Now, oops. Over here, you can also create different views here as well. And this is where it's very useful because, like I said, I'm looking at only specifically unbilled work orders on there. So not construction jobs, not maintenance, just unbilled work orders, and I can see them in here. So you can create views. Now in here you can choose to, depending on how many pages you have, I don't even have a full page, I can choose to all of them, or I can choose to select specific ones only and invoice those as well on there. But like I said here, you can make views for maintenance only ones. So you can see in maintenance, I have a lot of periodic billing. So in this billable item, you will see what it is. It's periodic billing. It's a maintenance visit. You know, you can only look at, you know, construction only. So just showing my construction division. Okay, change order. So if I have a change order, 50% completion. It's a change order, it's a milestone, it's the deposit billing for that change order on there as well. Or it's just a regular work order in the construction division. It's a milestone for a standard job on there as well. And you can see that. So you can invoice them from here. Like I said, this is a summary of all the things that we've clicked on and that we've saved and that, you know, ready for billing. So again, I don't have to go back into every job. I can come here and then I can select as many as I'd like, select all, and then I can make invoices for them. And again, like I said, if, whether it's construction or maintenance, if they're part of the same job, it will roll them up onto a single invoice on there as well for that. So like I said, you can make multiple views, your own views on here as well, like, you know, looking for specific things. Like I said, things like the billing date. So this is maintenance specific. If it's things that are old, I want to get rid of those as well. Make sure I find those on there as well. Billing type. Is it a milestone? Is it percentage of completion? Is it non-contract? Is it just a visit? So you can see different ways of filtering it. So you can filter by division. If you want to see salesperson, what does the salesperson have ready to be billed? You can do it that way as well. Or for maintenance specific stuff, if you do, for example, you do some mulch visits at some bigger mulch jobs at the beginning of the season, and then you want to bill those as soon as possible because you get, you know, because you spend a lot of money on the mulch. You can say, just show me specific mulching visits. Show me specific, you know, then this is division, category, service. Division, so you can kind of see where it is, okay, which ones I want to see, and you can choose specific services right in here, and then that way you can only show me those services, bill those right now. I'm not waiting for the 15th, just come in here, anything ready, nope, bill it out, and you can go there as well for that. So you can definitely, you know, make services equal this, and then you can, again, as long as those services are marked as done, they'll show up in this list and they can be billed right from here also. Now, the second part of this is the Billables tab, then there's the Invoices tab. So the idea is to make the invoices from here. Then in Manage, it'll automatically, so if I do make any invoice from this screen, whether it's 1 or 15 or 200 at the same time, once I make the invoices, it'll automatically go to the Invoices tab with the invoices created today view. So again, it's something that if you do it from that tab, it'll automatically go to this invoices created today. You can switch that out, not a problem, to different invoices on here as well. And again, you can also create your own views in here as well. So again, invoice created today is nice because, oh, I just made these today. Again, this is now where we kind of split. If I'm using the QuickBooks connector, then in here I can select them, hit the post invoices button, and then I can run my sync tool, and then it'll push them to QuickBooks. And again, like I said, it'll update anything that's in QuickBooks as well. So the status and the posted status are updated if I'm using QuickBooks. If I'm not using QuickBooks, then I don't have to post them because it won't have the post option there. But then if I'm not using QuickBooks, I can change the status directly on there as well. Again, I can change the status. So if I'm, you know, again, if I just want to keep it at a high level, yeah, once I know they've paid, go in here, mark it as paid as well on there. But you can, again, have different views depending on what invoices you want to see. If you're using QuickBooks, we have one with, you know, invoices with sync-ish. We talked about this before as well. Invoices that may not have been synced properly. This will tell you if there are any there as well. on all the invoices. You see all the statuses of the invoices as well. As they get posted, again, you can change, show me the ones that are posted. Okay, these are posted through QuickBooks status. The status of those, this status is updated automatically as things are posted, excuse me, as the accounting tool runs and synchronizes the invoices back and forth as well. So the Billables tab is where you start the process, and the Invoices tab is where you have the invoices, and then you can either send them to QuickBooks, you know that they're invoiced, and you can update their status from here as well. If you, you can also update the statuses from the jobs also. If you know what job it is, you know the customer, you can do that also on there. But basically in here, so the billables goes to invoices. Now, if you want to print any of these invoices, you can open the invoice from here. You can go to the job. You can go to the account. You can go to the billing account, and you can also open it from there as well. If you want to print off individual ones, you can do that from here as well. On there. Now, the other part is now like the reports part. So we've got the invoice settings. We see the settings on the estimate side. Again, it's like the process we want to make sure is that, especially at the job level, once they're there, maintenance, like I said, is a little bit more streamlined in that it's like as the periodic dates show up, they're ready to be billed. As visits are completed, they're ready to be billed. For construction, you want to get into the habit of, are there jobs that we can bill? Make sure you guys mark those things right billing so that when the person who does the invoicing goes into billables, they go in here, they can see, they can look at the construction division, let me look at work orders, and they can generate invoices from here to make sure, like Joe was saying earlier, you don't want to like, at the end, let's go back, we haven't billed a construction job in 3 months. You want to go in here and make sure that kind of happens on a regular basis as well. Now to kind of help with that, or one of the things we can do is that we have reports that you can run. Now there's all kinds of reports. I'm just going to focus on a couple reports in here. In the main reports area, we have at the very top, there's billing reports. Now, there's billing summary invoice. I'll look at the invoice report first. This one is fairly straightforward. Basically, what the invoice report is that it's very similar if I had clicked on an invoice and then hit the print button. But this allows me to do it for multiple invoices at the same time. So again, the key here is I can print or generate a report of invoices over a specific date range. I can choose last week, last month. I can just choose today. So if I go in, if I invoice 50, I made 50 invoices today, I can go to here, choose only the ones on June 20th. Now, if I want a specific invoice, I can pick it. Otherwise, I know all the invoices that match the rest of this criteria for specific divisions. Only except if you want only certain divisions, do that as well. You know, and then also, like I said, logo, address, phone number, what do I want to see on these invoices. Now we do have a new, relatively new feature here is that how do I want, when this thing generates, how do I want these sorted on there as well for that. So you can sort them by invoice number, and you can sort them ascending or descending. Now, if you choose to I want to put all the same customers together, or by account name, I can choose account name, and then I can that as well. So when I view this report again, what it does, this generates all, again, I don't know how many of us have made in the past couple months. Hopefully it's not too many on there as well. But that basically, I now have invoices, and the order is not necessarily the invoice number. This was made in 26. I go to the next one, it's made in the 14th, but it's all ordered by customer name on here as well. And again, each one of these, I can export it to a PDF, and it'll make how many I have on here as well, or I can go to Word if I want to. But I can see, again, I have 18 different invoices on there as well, and sorted alphabetically. Within each one, they're sorted by the date also for that. But yes, you can then do that, and so then if I want to print these out, I can hit the print button from here. Or, and again, I put the phone number on there as well as I have. I turned off salesperson, that's why they don't show up on here as well. Logo shows up, or I can export them out to a PDF or to Excel or to Word, and then I can go from there as well if I want to. So, you know, and have all the invoices in there. So that's what the invoice report is. If I want to get a hard copy, or I can email them as well if I'd like to on there, do that, of specific invoices based on a date range. Now, The other report that's useful under here is very useful is this billing summary report. Now, this is, again, it's to summarize both the billables and the invoices over a specific date range. So it's not going to give you each of the invoices, but it's going to generate a summary type report on there. And again, you choose a date range on this is key for this particular thing. Choose a date range, and you can filter by salesperson. Again, if you want to see just specific salesperson, what their billables they have ready to go out, how much they've invoiced over a date range, you can choose that as well. Or estimators, designers, you know, on there. And then if you want to show their names on the report, you can say show salesperson here, do that as well, show what that looks like. So basically this report, like I said, it's a summary type report. Don't know if there's too much in here, but basically it's a billing summary report, 3 pages. So what it does, how it breaks it down, this is automatically grouped in a specific way. It goes by division, and then customer, and then job. And then it totals all there. So basically what the columns here break down to, these are things that are billable, these are ready to be billed, but we have not yet generated invoices for them on there as well. So the first column here basically is, this is all the stuff that I've marked ready for billing, or if I have periodic billing that I haven't done yet. This is a summary of all of that. Like I said, it does it by division first. So here's all the construction, so you can see this client, this job, so then it totals for that job. Then it totals for the job, then it totals for that client. Total for the job, total for the client. Total for the job, total for the client. So this is the billable column. And I think at the end, wherever the division ends on there, here's the total for the construction. Here we have, so what this is telling us is that in our construction division, we have $11,000 of items marked ready for billing that we have not invoiced yet as well on there. The other 5 columns here, these are tied to the invoices. So I have invoiced these. This is the current status of the invoice in Manage. Now, if you're using a QuickBooks link, there will be either, and it has been sent, it's been posted, it'll be either unpaid, partially paid, or paid. If it hasn't been sent over yet, it's either be new or approved up there as well. So you can see, then this totals new, how many new invoices do I have? And if it's an invoice, then the invoice number is right there as well on there. And again, it totals by division. So in that we have $10,000 of invoices in the construction division. And this, if I want to see the salesperson, each line item has a salesperson attached to it as well on there. And again, I can go to the next division. It's my labor only division, nothing much in there. And my maintenance division is going to be super long because of all the periodic billing on there as well that I don't do on there as well. So again, it's good that you can kind of see, is there stuff that we need to bill that hasn't been billed yet? And what have we billed overall as well? So this report, very, very useful for that also. Now, one other report before we wrap up here, again, just as another way to help look at stuff. Under the job management, excuse me, we have the job profitability report. Again, yours likely doesn't have an asterisk in front, but it's called the Job Profitability Report on there. On this report, this is a construction type report, so it's for the construction jobs on there as well. Maintenance has its own profitability report as well. But in here, again, you choose a date range, so I'll just go back a little bit here. Excuse me. Now, I'll give a total. So I'll group by division so I can have a higher level grouping on that. On there. Just want to show a couple things. Now, when I do this, no grouping there, what I want to show is on this report, when you run it, one of the options we have is there's a show section here. Now, the show section means when I run it, and Jordan talked about this probably a long while ago as well, the show is what do I want to see? When I run this report, what information do I want to see and manage when it runs? So one of the answers is we can show invoiced revenue. So the revenue on a construction side, when I win that job, the revenue that's the revenue on there as well. The invoiced revenue is how much have you actually invoiced for as well. So if you do want to look at that to kind of run this report, you can kind of see job by job, have I missed invoicing things? So I'll click on this one as well. And again, you can see other things on it. For example, you can do that. And again, you can filter by jobs that are complete, other ways to filter. But the main thing is show you this invoiced revenue on here, and I'll I'll run this report. Because like I said, one of the things this can be used for is that, so as change orders are approved, they become part of the revenue on there as well. And again, I've got it by division here as well. So you see my construction division, excuse me, revenue $200,000. So what that is saying is that on this date, on this managed site, between January 1st and the 20th of June, the jobs that have that date range, we've won $200,000 worth of jobs. However, we've only invoiced $40,000 worth of jobs on there as well for that. So one of the things that you can use here, again, if you expand it down to the job level, you can see revenue, invoiced revenue here as well. If there's discrepancies in here at the job level, this is where you can say, okay, I need to go back to this job here. Why have we not invoiced this job? Is it done? Oh, it might not be done. Okay, then that's fine. That's why you can filter this by completed jobs or other ways to do it as well. You can group by salesperson to see this is a salesperson's jobs and which ones are billing. But for the like for example, this one here, for example, if I saw this, okay, now this could mean we haven't finished the billing yet, or I may have approved a change order that we haven't billed either. So I might have billed all for the original contract may have been $4,000 and we billed that, but I didn't bill the change order. So this is a good report to run quarterly, monthly, whatever, to run it to see these numbers. Again, provided you're invoicing and manage to do it. And if you're using QuickBooks Link, then you should be invoicing manage. Now, even if you're not using QuickBooks, I'd get into the habit of just, even if you just invoice and manage, even if it doesn't go anywhere, that we don't generate those invoices, just so Manage knows, yeah, you've invoiced that amount. So it knows you've built that amount as well. But this is a good kind of another report to check to see the difference between this is what we've won, change order plus estimate. This is what we've actually created invoices for within the system as well. All right, so I hope that, again, giving you enough things to look over and to help with the billing process. Again, just we'll get back to Joe and can wrap up our final billing masterclass on there.
Thanks so much, Fabio. Certainly enlightening and really helpful to see how we can manage all of our billables. If anyone has any questions, please get to us by email or give us a call. You can get us at support@dynascape.com or 1-800-710-1900 extension 1 will get you right to our support team. This session has been recorded, and all of the previous sessions are posted up at this link here. And following this session later this afternoon, we'll get this recording posted as well. On behalf of DynaSCAPE, our implementers, Fabio and Jordan, I'm Joe Salemi, and I'd like to thank you for staying with us through the 17-part webinar series on the Manage360 Masterclass. Thanks again, and if you need anything, please let us know. We'd be happy to help. Thanks, Fabio.
No problem. Thanks, Scott.